Welcome back to what is this? Victory Tuesday?
Yeah, or it's just describe it. We need to figure out a name for this, Leo, and I think that we
I
should
feel like
have
we
taken
should
more.
keep giving a new one every Tuesday so that it happens organically, like nothing forced. You feel
Okay,
me on that?
okay,
All
I hear
right,
you. Victory Tuesday.
Victory Tuesday. Yeah, as maybe we get Victory Tuesday next week. We'll see. Shout out to all of you that's coming in, joining with us right now. I see Steven in the comments. Big shout out though to Debbie Ryan here. Just a quick shout out, Jason. Appreciate you, my young brother. Can't wait to get back on with the nitty gritty Niners crew. Happy holidays to you. Let's go win out the season. Uh,
Appreciate that,
right
Debbie.
there.
Just
Obviously,
yeah,
big shout out to Jason. This guy is killing it. Content. I don't know how the hell he does it. Jesus, like, do you sleep?
not really. I mean, but that's what happens when you become a father. And I would ask you the same thing now that you are a two-time dad. But
Yeah. Well, can't
uh,
you see that I got the onesies right here on deck?
yeah,
Stacked up, just in,
th-
for them diaper changes, man.
there you go. And to Debbie, I always appreciate the kind words. One of the genuine, most nice people in this world, seriously. And those kind words, they never go unnoticed and they never go unappreciated. I appreciate you so much. And tell the nitty gritty crew anytime that they want me back, I'll be on.
Jason is a host and a guest. My guy's out here wearing two caps, whatever it is. We're on both channels, so make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe, comment down below, whatever helps the algorithm. Because we're streaming here on both channels. My channel is Leo Luna, as well as Jason Aponte's channel. So go ahead and subscribe to both. Hit the like button on both, and let's get into it. Let's talk about this victory we had over the Atlanta Falcons. And I said we, because I don't care what anybody says. We are a part of this team. You spend money on that shirt, on that hat. I spent it on this sweater, this hat. And, when my daughter goes to school, depending on the outcome of the game, she's either going to say your team looks good or she's going to get roasted saying your team's trash. So, yes, it's we. We had a victory on Sunday. Let's talk about this 49ers pass rush. Really quick, 49ers won 31-13 over the Atlanta Falcons. Jimmy Garoppolo was fantastic. 18 of 23, 235 yards, 1 touchdown. Jeff Wilson, over 100 yards carrying this game. Last season, the 49ers didn't have 2 running backs go for 100 in a game. This year, they've had that with Elijah Mitchell and Jeff Wilson. So it shows you how much better the ground game has been this season. But let's talk about the 49ers pass rush here. Describe to me in one word 49ers pass rush.
Ascending. And that's a beautiful thing, especially when you consider it's about to get colder and what travels past rush and running. And if the 49ers can get back to basics, then they become that dreaded team that nobody wants to play.
Yep.
So it's great. Nick Bosa is Nick Bosa. Arden Key is helping so much. And I think that you're starting to see it happen little by little. Arden Key should have had an extra sack. We can yell and all we want about the refs. Unfortunately, he didn't lay Matt Ryan down into the pillow and sing him a lullaby when he dropped him down. So he was penalized, and that also led to a touchdown, which led to basically that was their only touchdown.
Yep.
And but it's ascending right now at this point, and it is going in the right direction. And if Arden Key can continue this pace and be that second pass rusher situationally to Nick Bosa, and other guys start to contribute, DJ Jones on the inside, maybe a little bit of Eric Armstead, then again, the 49ers become that team that nobody wants to play. So yes, I think that definitely, for sure, 100% is ascending.
Yep. And
Mitch Wisnowski, you spelled Mitch Wisnowski wrong.
I'm not even going to get Jason started on.
I'm good. It's
Robbie
a victory. Who cares?
Yeah.
Punters and kickers don't matter. They especially don't matter when the team wins. So,
Especially special team. I like how you flew that in together. 49, like you said, it's ascending. This Arden Key has stepped up quite a bit. Samson Ebukam, I was one of the people, 8 games into the season saying, why the hell did they sign him and not Marcus Golden? You could still have that conversation, but it's not as loud. Ebukam has been playing quite nicely lately over the past 4 to 5 weeks. He had a sack this game. So did Arden Key. Should have been a 2-sack game, like you said, but unfortunately he didn't pull Matt Ryan's flag and he actually took him to the ground, and that's why he got the penalty. Nick Bosa, 7 games in a row with the sack. Insane. Last week against the Bengals, he had 10 pressures. This week against the Falcons, he had 9 pressures. And now he's going to face a poor pass blocking Tennessee Titans team. Like, oh my God, I'm just so excited to see him potentially get 20 sacks on the year. But yeah, it's absolutely ascending. What this pass rush has done in back-to-back games, keep in mind. They completely destroyed Joe Burrow and limited their offense from completely going off like they've had on other teams this year. Like they made the Baltimore Ravens look silly defensively, and the 49ers defense didn't do that with Ambry Thomas and Josh Norman starting out at quarterback. A lot of that has to do with the defensive line, and it's the other guys. It's not just Nick Bosa, and that's a great thing with it. So let's go ahead and keep it going talking about this 49ers defensive line. Some of this does leak into the linebacking core, but 49ers run defense. They haven't allowed a 90-yard rusher since week 9. That was James Conner and the Arizona Cardinals. And who have they played since week 9? They played Joe Mixon. They've played Dalvin Cook. Cordero Patterson's having a career year. Looked very nice. And yet, as you can see on the bottom ticker there, didn't even average 2 yards per carry in this contest. So give me one word to describe this 49ers run defense.
Stout. And when you really look at it, without Azeez Al-Shaair, that makes this game all the more incredible. And yes, Cordero Patterson is having a great year, but the Atlanta Falcons aren't exactly a powerhouse juggernaut running the ball. And I think a lot of what happened in this game was the fact that Arthur Smith runs a variation in Shanahan's system. D'Amico Ryans understands that, and so does Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor and Arthur Smith run very much an offshoot of the Shanahan offense. But when you're looking at this game and you see that a pretty nice fallback plan when Azeez Al-Shaair isn't playing is just to let Fred Warner run around the field like a madman, that actually kind of helps. And it's insane to think that, unfortunately, no, not unfortunately. I do want to say this objectively, and this is in no way any slight, but Azeez Al-Shaair has been the best linebacker on this team this year. He has. But that's a beautiful thing. Some would look at that as a bad thing. I prefer to look at it as a good thing. But the 49ers have done well stopping the run, even with 2 high safeties. They don't even have Tart or Ward in the box most of the time or down closer to the line of scrimmage. It just doesn't happen that way. And they've been able to stop Joe Mixon, who is like lighting the world on fire, not maybe recently, but I believe he leads the league in rush attempts. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that is really working in their favor. But when you look at a game where Azeez Al-Shaair is not there and you were able to stop the run that well, and you have been over these weeks, it's amazing. Give credit to D'Amico Ryans, man. He's continuing to grow, and I'm very happy for him. And yeah, this run defense is stout right now at this point, and that's going to be needed because when you turn teams one-dimensional, it fits right into what the 49ers want to do, which is get after the quarterback in obvious passing downs. And if that's the way that it's going to be, and you can't run the ball and you're not flexible, it's going to play right into the 49ers' hands. So right now it's stout.
Yeah, that's how you get teams into 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, and kind of show their hand and pass the ball. And someone who's been really good in those distances is K'Wan Williams out of the nickel corner spot. Because yeah, he can. If you look at his receptions, on targets, it's going to be high. It's going to be like 75%. But how many of those times it's in front of the first down marker, making other teams punt? And that gets a key contributing to the 49ers run defense. For me, it's okay to say they're elite. It's okay to say that they're I'm not a big EPA guy, but I think you started this trend as far as hashtag fits my narrative. And so in the fits my narrative, the 49ers run defense is 2nd in the NFL. They're pretty freaking stout. They're pretty freaking elite. And once again, hashtag fits my narrative. It's other than a fluke game with James Conner, it seems like this team is getting a little away from the wide 9. And while they're doing this, they have 2 safeties that are really, really good at stopping the run. One of them is Jimmy Ward, and the other one is Kwaski Tart. Well, despite being so great against the run these past 2 games, what have they been doing in coverage? Playing a lot of cover 2. So that means they're backed up quite a bit, trying to get the back end of the ball. Obviously, no one crosses their face when they're in that deep high safety. Yet, it's the angles that they take. Jordan Elliott, our guy here, friend of the show, had talked about against the Bengals, a big stopping the run was the angles that Tart was taking. And Jimmy Ward does a lot of the same himself. So, yeah, it's an elite run defense because when you look at it, all 3 levels, from the first defensive line interior with DJ Jones, Nick Bosa is just as destructive against the run as he is in the pass. Eric Armstead excels more against the run than he does the pass. Then you got Fred Warner, Hopefully, healthy Aziz coming against the Titans, or maybe the week after. And then you have Kwaski, and you have Jimmy Ward, and then you got Peanut Norman. Is that what we're gonna have to call him? Peanut
Fine,
Norman? Because
fine, Leo.
while there's been other things you could throw out his game, he's been doing that quite frequently, quite well. So Peanut Norman, he's even been fantastic. And when you sub in Emmanuel Mosley, Mosley actually does a good job of getting his nose dirty against the run as well, even though he's not the biggest corner, the strongest corner out there. So it's an elite run defense. Yeah, I had to go Peanut with Norman, even though Jason's just sitting over there like, no, man, I don't want to hear that, man.
It's fine. I mean, Norman's been good the last 2 weeks, man. You can't really say anything aside from one catch that he gave up. That's fine. Obviously that it comes contextualized with the fact that they've been trying to do more to, protect Ambry Thomas during this time. But Norman's been fine. He hasn't been committing penalties like that. He hasn't really been getting torched. So yeah, he's fine. So I mean, good for him, man.
Let's talk about something a little controversial. It's comeback player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's going to be more towards the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks always get love for any award, whether it's MVP, offensive player of the year, rookie of the year. Rookie of the year, in my mind, probably goes to Jamar Chase, but knowing the NFL, it's going to go to Mac Jones. So it's just that position that just gets a lot of love. Because it is the most important position on the field. What comes to mind when I say Dak Prescott comeback player of the year?
Inevitable, but in a way that that word itself shouldn't contextualize my feelings with the word that I just used, right? Like it's inevitable because like the MVP is a quarterback award. Comeback player of the year is going to be for a quarterback who, let's just put it like this. The lasting impression that you have of Dak Prescott from last year was seeing his ankle turned all the way around the other side, right? And being carted off. It's hard to get that out of your mind. And then when you talk about how well he played earlier in the season, obviously the team has kind of taken, the offense has kind of taken a downturn. They're winning games. But it's hard to get that out of your mind. And I feel like that is something that is fresh in a lot of voters' minds, meaning the media. So, yeah, I mean, but there is an absolute argument for Nick Bosa. And he absolutely should get a ton of first-round votes. But unfortunately, it's inevitable that I think it's going to be Dak Prescott just because of that picture of him on the cart with his foot the other way. And for him to come back right away, no preseason, nothing like that, played as well as he did early in the season, nothing short of a miracle. So, yeah, I think that, and another thing is the injury that Nick Bosa had. ACLs are frequently, with advances in modern science and the way that things are, you kind of come back from them, even though Nick Bosa still isn't close to his final form at this point. But I think it is inevitable that it is going to be Dak Prescott. And I think it has a lot to do with how people remember his last, full game, and the last time you saw him last season.
Yeah. I'll say it's unfortunate because you have these two guys playing at a hell of a level, but it's going to go to the quarterback. Last year, I believe it was Alex Smith who got the award, which it's like, yeah, sure. But it was in a year where Jason Verrett was playing at a phenomenal level and could have had a lot of comeback player of the year votes as well. And that's kind of where I look at this. It's depending on the positions, you kind of get on the short end of the stick. And that's where Nick Bosa would be. I wish it would be, maybe an offensive award and a defensive award like they do for rookie of the years. You should do that for comeback player of the year. Because some contracts could have, little incentives in there or whatever it may be, or when you're trying to get a new contract for a defensive player like a Jason Verrett, hey, look, I was comeback player of the year. Same thing for Nick Bosa when he has his negotiations. Hey, look, I was comeback player of the year after an ACL. So yeah, it could also affect their money by not winning these awards. How much is it going to affect? I don't know. It could be pennies, but it's just another thing to go ahead and argue for every extra dollar amount. I personally, as a Cowboy hater, as a 49er fan, this should not be Dak Prescott's award. This should be Nick Bosa's award. He has 15 sacks in 14 games. While Dak Prescott has had phenomenal games this year, he's kind of gotten a little cold lately. Struggled against the New York Football Giants. Like, yikes. Struggled against these guys. And struggled against the Denver Broncos. Like, there's multiple games in there where Dak Prescott does not look like your comeback player of the year. And you can't really say that with the Nick Bosa. You can't say, like, well, yeah, Nick Bosa balled out against the Falcons, but he looked bad against the Seahawks. No, he's looked elite in every single game this year. So besides being a Cowboy hater, besides being a 49ers fan, I that's where it would come down for me. Is there any game this year where Nick Bosa does not look top 10? No.
I mean,
is there any game this year that Dak Prescott does not look top 10? Yeah, there's multiple of them. But I understand it's gonna happen to Dak Prescott because of the position, but they should just completely offensive comeback player of the year, defensive comeback player of the year. Maybe it does get someone an extra dollar in negotiations. I don't know, but it's something nice to have in a day and age in 2021 where you just want to give everybody participation awards. Why not just, slap in a defense there? There we go. We have a donation here from Big Dez.
Big Dez.
If Bosa ends up with 18 to 20 sacks and the Niners win out, I give him a great chance to win it. The guy is elite.
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody heard what Trent Williams was saying about him today. And Trent Williams was saying,
go ahead and elaborate.
When you go ahead and you build a pass rusher in a lab, it's Nick Bosa. And again, I'm going to keep saying it. I feel like he's still not all the way back yet. There's still another gear that he can get to. And, think about the double team percentages. Think about all those clips that we have of him being in a chokehold and things like that. And for him to still leave his mark on the team and still be able to get sacks, it's a wonder. And he's just incredible, man. It really, really is incredible, man.
See, this question right here is just, man, it's tough. Who is better, 2013 Aldon Smith or 2021 Nick Bosa? I think 2013 Aldon Smith was a better pass rusher, but as an overall edge player, I go with 2021 Nick Bosa. So it depends on where you want to elaborate that question for me.
The person that we should ask is actually Tart, because when he was on the podcast, I believe it was on Vish's podcast when he was on with Vish. Vish asked him, I believe, who was the best player that he's ever played with. And he said it was Aldon Smith. He said he had never seen a player like that ever, right? And I would love to get his take on that now that he's actually seen him now with Bosa and he's been with him for 3 years. So pretty interesting to hear a player who had actually played with Aldon Smith say that he was the best football player he's ever played with or ever seen at any level. So it would be interesting to find out if maybe we should hit him on Twitter and ask him, like, yo, like, I remember you saying this about Aldon Smith. Do you still believe that? Because it would be really good. So for me, it's a little bit tougher. There's a lot of discussion about Aldon Smith and the way that he was and how much Justin Smith ate up blocks and allowed him to get those advantageous one-on-one pass rushes. That doesn't diminish him in any way, but that is a narrative that's out there, right? That is a narrative that's out there for sure. I just think that Nick Bosa by himself is doing a lot. He doesn't have that luxury right now, so I'll lean Bosa. Let me be prisoner of the moment for once. Yeah, I'll lean Bosa. Yep.
It's okay. We could all be prisoner of the moments. Like, I'm a prisoner of the moment saying that this 49ers team is the best team I'm just kidding. I'm not going that far.
All right, there you go.
Prisoner in the moment. No, man, I don't want to do that.
No, man.
You've been a big advocate for Trent Williams making this Pro Bowl, saying that he's getting no love. At one point in time, he was 6th in voting, which is completely ridiculous when he's on a team like the 49ers and the fan base the 49ers have. Like, why the hell is this guy 6th in voting? But Trent Williams is going to be a Pro Bowler this year, which was obvious that it was going to happen. I can't say my words, so I just switched it up. It was obvious that it was going to happen, that he was going to be a Pro Bowler. So finish this up for me. Trent Williams is
Incredible. And every single game, it's beautiful. You don't have to understand lineman technique. You don't have to understand lineman jobs to appreciate him throwing pass rushes out of the club with ease. You don't have to appreciate you don't have to understand lineman techniques, blocking, zone blocking to see how a man that size can get to the second level on outside runs and be in front of a running back. We're lucky. We're very lucky. And in a perfect world, in another world, since all this Spider-Man thing is out there, in another multiverse, right? In another multiverse, Trent Williams wins Offensive Player of the Year, and that's the multiverse that Brad Graham runs. I mean, honestly, he doesn't give up pressures. He doesn't give up sacks. He's incredible in run blocking. And hashtag fits my narrative. PFF has him ranked as the highest graded player of all time. Of all time, since they've been doing their grading system. So while I disagree with their process, and I've talked about that many times, this fits my narrative, so I'll use it. But in another multiverse where Brad Graham rules everything, Trent Williams would win Offensive Player of the Year. And it's kind of a shame that the NFL never really does anything for him. And Brad's brought that up himself in terms of they post a lot of players. And I guess offensive line isn't sexy, but this is the best left tackle in the world. And I keep telling 49er fans, I have no idea how they were able to upgrade from Joe Staley. Like, think about that. You had Joe Staley for so long, and then you just flip and you're like, well, we're replacing Joe Staley with Trent Williams, and somehow that's an upgrade. And that's no disrespect to Joe Staley. That's just a testament to how great Trent Williams is. We're just very lucky that we get to watch him.
Thank you, Washington football team, for not taking the first-round picks when they were available, or even second-round picks when they were available. The fact the 49ers got this team for a third-round pick is completely, well, it was a 3rd and a 5, but still, I'm just going to say 3rd because that's the most relevant pick in that trade, is insane. Is insane. Like, this guy is playing at a Hall of Fame level currently as the All-Pro, best player in the league currently, and you got him for a 3rd-round pick. That is complete highway robbery. That's even worse than the Lions giving away Laken Tomlinson for a 5th. It's even worse than that. But I'm going to go with what Fred Warner said for Trent Williams is he's Superman. This guy's insane. Like, there's so many good pass rushers in this league. And to see Trent Williams just body bag them every single week, how is this possible? No one should be doing this in the NFL, and no one is doing this in the NFL besides Trent Williams. And then I love that he's going out there with his big old chains. Like, this guy is just a whole vibe, and he's someone that I would, if I'm in the same room with him, like I'm ready to go to war. I'm just ready to go. He's not a vocal leader, but what he does, if you're a teammate of his, just watching the tape, just, being in the same room as him, it's going to get you pumped up. It's going to get you fired up, and it's going to get you at your A game and just ready to go. So I'm excited. I'm excited because this next thing I'm going to ask you, describe it in one word. We're talking about Trent Williams. We haven't even talked about anyone else on the offense. So the offense hasn't reached its ceiling.
Well,
it's kind of hard to say that in one word. It's kind of, I understand.
Yeah. I agree. Agreed. There's the word. Agreed. Okay. Agreed. Boom. But I agree. And the reason that I mean that is this. And I know everybody's in love with like deep shots, shot plays, things like that, and everything. But I feel like there's going to be a game that the 49ers don't flat out run the ball, and they find a way to get in the same game, have Kittle, Debo, and Ayuk all contribute with like 5 or more catches and like a bunch of yards. And that will be dictated by the team on the other side, because there's going to be games where it's not perfect, right? Where you can't run the ball and everything as well too. But I just feel like there's one more little gear that this offense has right now. One more. Just one more. If Jimmy Garoppolo can continue to be as efficient as he is, throwing the ball as well as he did this past week, putting guys in position where they catch the ball in stride and go. Like that throw to Ayuk was beautiful. That throw to Kittle over the middle, which is a little bit deeper than we're normally seeing, that was beautiful. But if he can continue to do that, But in a game where things aren't so controlled by either the defense or the run game, one of those things is going to put you in a position where you have to throw the ball a little bit more. I think that that's a point where you can start to see where this ceiling will go. But it's just right now, it doesn't necessitate it. You didn't need it against the Falcons. The Bengals, you kind of needed it at the end of the game to win the game, right? But you didn't necessarily need it all game. So I think that I agree, but I also think that a lot of what the opponent does and what the 49ers can do running the ball kind of, it doesn't cap the ceiling, but it hasn't necessitated using it. So
that's fair. I'm going to say, I guess agreed. I'm just going to agree with you on that. Because I think it was Matt Mayoko said that Kyle Shanahan was kind of getting frustrated with Jimmy Garoppolo and how Jimmy Garoppolo is running Kyle Shanahan's offense, and lately Kyle Shanahan has let Jimmy Garoppolo be Jimmy Garoppolo. And my first question was, why so late? Like, why was that decision made like after the Cardinals game to let Jimmy be Jimmy? And why was that not done sooner? Because obviously Matt Mayoko is not going to just say it to say it. Like he says it because he has intel that Kyle Shanahan is just letting Jimmy be Jimmy at this point. And it's like, okay, great. And I think that's why this team hasn't reached its true ceiling, because week in, week out, this team's going to get more data of what Jimmy Garoppolo is feeling, his vibe. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get more comfortable playing his style of football rather than Kyle Shanahan's style of football. Obviously, while saying that, it's still going to be a run-first team. Jimmy Garoppolo's style is not going to be a Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert style offense. No, it's still going to be a run-first team. That's why Jimmy Garoppolo's style can fit a Shanahan scheme, and where we could see potentially stuff we haven't seen within this offense yet if Jimmy Garoppolo gets a little more comfortable. When Jimmy Garoppolo is comfortable, he's good. It's okay. It's okay to say Jimmy Garoppolo is good when comfortable. It's okay, guys. Like I'm not the Jimmy Garoppolo stan, and I'm not going to be someone that's going to be out here capping for Jimmy either. But when he's comfortable, the guy's a pretty good quarterback, and we saw that on Sunday to where we didn't see too many over the head, 10 feet over the head shots. Didn't see one to the linebacker's lap. Didn't see one to the safety's lap. We saw an efficient Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think it's okay to say, it's not too offensive to say, as long as Jimmy Garoppolo is Alex Smith-esque, this team could go somewhere. Because Alex Smith was a Pro Bowl quarterback in Kansas City. They were putting up points. They were putting up numbers, and they were really good. Now, playoffs, it was a completely different story for that Chiefs team. 49ers, I believe, have a better defense than those Chiefs team. And if Jimmy Garoppolo could just play at a game manager level to the Alex Smith type, and that's what we saw Sunday, to where you're being conservative with the football, you're not turning it over, you're hitting guys in between the numbers and letting your playmakers do them. And that's why I think this offense, it hasn't reached its ceiling. Got a donation here from Chris. How does our offense match up against their D? I'm assuming you're talking about the Titans. If you want to go ahead and take that, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I haven't really had a chance to, check it out real quick. I got to watch that game a little bit Sunday on Red Zone a little bit, popped in and out just because I saw that it was kind of close. But in terms of what their defense is they're really good pass rushing. Harold Landry is still a really good pass rusher. On the back end, you're not necessarily as worried, even though I don't even know if Caleb Farley's been playing. This is how little I have. Chris, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I haven't seen Caleb Farley out there.
Yeah. So Chris, this, I want to normalize saying I'm not sure and I'm not sure yet, because all of that stuff that I'm going to be doing is in terms of watching the Titans is going to happen tonight after we get done here for tomorrow. So I have a vague idea of what they are, but I don't want to say anything definitively if I don't have the proper information. So I hope that doesn't bother you. I just don't want to say something if I don't have the information. I just want to make sure that I'm very knowledgeable when it comes to that. So I don't want to just say something that's gonna be off the cuff that's wrong.
And transparent. It's okay to say I need more data. That's completely okay. Yeah. What I would say is how it matches up against their defense. I think it matches up well. The biggest problem that we're going to see from the Titans is their defensive pass rush. But then I look at the pass rush win rate defensive pass rush win rate, and it's okay. It doesn't jump off the tape. It doesn't jump off the data sheet spreadsheet. It doesn't pop up on that. But are they getting sacks? Are they getting numbers? Yes, sure. But are they essentially dominating? No. Harold Landry is their leading sack defensive lineman, and he's at a 17%. I was looking at this earlier today. He's at a 17% pass rush win rate. See, this is why I was in speech therapy for so many years when I was a kid. And then with Nick Bosa, he's at a 33% win rate. And if that just tells you that, is basically saying Nick Bosa is twice as good as Harold Landry, which not too many people are going to argue with that, saying no, he's not. But yeah, they can be had. They can be had. But that's going to be the biggest matchup for the 49ers offense is just keeping Jimmy Garoppolo on his 2 feet and giving him enough time to make decisions and process the defense.
Yeah, I'll have a better answer for you tomorrow, Chris, when we do the preview show before the Thursday game. A lot of content going on this week, man. So I'm trying to get it all in while trying to be a commissioner during this fantasy football playoffs.
Pause.
Oh, relax. Fantasy football commissioner as well too, and all these things that I've got going on too, and also I'm potty training Averly, so a lot of things going on in the house, man.
Go Averly, you got this, girl. You got it. You got it. Kill it. All right, we got another donation. Thank you, Carlos, my guy. Guys, what's your thoughts on the battle between the trenches between the 49ers O-line and the Titans defensive line? Yeah, I kind of just answered this. I think it's a winnable game for the 49ers. I was actually going to discuss this later with Jason, so let's just hop into it now. The 49ers O-line versus Titans D-line, to where, yeah, they do have 3 guys with at least 9 sacks, which is Autry, which is Harold Landry, and the other interior, Isaiah Simmons. Not Simmons? Yeah.
No, not Simmons. Isaiah Simmons.
It's not Simmons. Isaiah, but it's Simmons.
Yeah.
With those 3 guys, they have over 9 sacks each. The 49ers only have 1 guy with over 9 sacks, which is Nick Bosa. But I believe that's a little misleading because it's kind of like go big or go home for the Titans defensive line. It's either they create a pressure and get a sack, or they don't do crap in terms of pressuring the quarterback. So as long as the 49ers can do that, I think the biggest test for the 49ers O-line is going to be the right side. It's going to be, how does Daniel Brunskill, can he put 2 games back to back? This last game against the Falcons, he didn't allow pressure. And to me, that tells me that, something, considering he gave up about 1 million pressures to the Cincinnati Bengals. And then the right tackle is Tom Compton. I'm straight out of Tom Compton, but he didn't give up a pressure to the Atlanta Falcons. So, good for him. I'll give him his flowers when he deserves it, even though I don't want to. Maybe if I got him for free and I'll just donate it to Tom Compton, then I guess. But, that's going to be the other test. It's going to be the right side for the 49ers offensive line. Obviously, Trent Williams, he's a beast. He's something else. Lincoln, he allowed 1 pressure all season long. Alex Mack is just a great veteran, and a lot of that's going to come down to Alex Mack and his communicating with the other offensive linemen. So,
well, I think this too, and a lot of what's going on with Tom Compton is a lot of credit to Kyle Shanahan, because when you're able to run the ball as well as you are, and you don't have him in position where he needs to pass block on long downs and distance and long developing routes, that's realistically where you want to live. So thank you, Javier, for subscribing to the channel. And for anybody that's here right now, new subscriber, old subscriber, make sure you hit the like video on this, hit the like button on this video. It'll help us out a ton. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Don't want to go that far at this point, but a lot of the credit that needs to go, a lot of the credit needs to go to Kyle Shanahan, because when you're able to dominate the run game and put him in a position to just run block and do what he does best, he's the number 2 graded right tackle right now in run blocking since he took over. Conversely, he is the lowest graded pass blocking right tackle. So again, a lot of that is dictated by game flow, how things are going. And if you're able to run the ball and you keep him away from those long down and distances where the routes have to develop a little bit longer and he has to get on that island and block one of these guys, then I think he'll be fine. And that's just more testament to how good Kyle Shanahan has been lately and what they've been able to do with the running game.
Absolutely. Let's talk about something fun, though. Debo, the QB?
Well,
give me one more.
Right. innovative. And listen, I'm gonna steal this from Andrew. We talked about this on Sprint Right Option podcast plug. Andrew has a theory, and I'm starting to run with it a little bit. Remember how we talked about how MVP is a quarterback thing?
Oh God.
Well, Kyle Shanahan is trying to get him to throw passes so the voters can see that Deebo Samuel needs to be considered as an MVP. And if he throws more touchdown passes on top of being a running back and a wide receiver, how could he not be the MVP at this point? Honestly, I'm not a big fan of the trick plays, those things. When they work, they're beautiful. When they don't, I'm just like, what was that? That was a wasted play call. But I'm not going to give Kyle too much crap for it because there wasn't a play call really that he had in that game that was bad. He was completely in his bag. So, yeah, I think he was great. It's fine. I think it's fun. It was fun. And for a second there, he had Ayuk. He just threw it into the back of H.A. Terrell. Realistically, what I think, if you want to make Deebo Samuel better at quarterback, I think he should just sit for a year more than anything. He should sit for a year, and he needs to learn. And I think that's the best way that we should go about this because that's the way you develop quarterbacks, okay? You should make Deebo Samuel sit if you want him to be a better passer. So, I mean, just throwing it out there, Kyle, if you're listening, which you are.
Jason.
Hi, Leo.
No. Christ, man. I thought we were going to go a whole episode without a quarterback having to sit for a year. I thought we were going to do that.
Why not, though? I mean, you got to develop Deebo Samuel, Kyle. What are you doing, man? I don't get it. You want him to be a quarterback, but he's playing? That's not how this works.
Oh, jeez. Deebo, I'm gonna say do it. Deebo Samuel, the QB, do it. Give my man a passing touchdown. Because then he already has 1 million rushing. He already has 1 million receiving. Let's get him 1 million passing touchdowns on the season. And how can he not be the MVP at that point? Or at least offensive player of the year at that point. It's just let it stack up. I have a weird theory that this probably isn't going to be the last time we see him throw a pass. Remember they tried to do it in the Super Bowl. He tried to throw a pass in the Super Bowl, and then nothing was open, and he ran for it and picked up the first down. So Kyle Shanahan's tried to throw a Deebo in the past previously. It just hasn't connected yet.
While I don't like trick plays, I can definitely understand the thought process because when Deebo has the ball behind the line of scrimmage, everybody's going to come up. And eventually, somebody's going to spring wide open down the field. Mm-hmm. Everybody's going to say, all right, Deebo's got the ball. We all have to rally around him because of how he breaks tackles. Maybe it'll work one day. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, in the right situation, if you get a look that you like and it can turn into a big play where Ayuk slips behind somebody and it's an easier throw and Deebo can put it on him, it might turn into a big chunk play. But realistically, if you want Deebo Samuel to be a better quarterback, just rest him for a year and then he should be fine next year, I think. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to have some fun.
I'm going to say Kendrick Bourne has a passing touchdown on the season. And Deebo can't go without a passing touchdown on the season, knowing that KB got one. So now just organically, Deebo needs to get one just to make it an even playing field. Kyle Shanahan knows that. Kyle Shanahan saw Kendrick Bourne throw a touchdown this season, and now he's, banging his hand against the table saying he let the best quarterback on his roster get away. So Deebo needs to, go ahead and match Kendrick Bourne and get a passing touchdown himself. Cordero was Deebo 0.5.
Cordell Stewart, man.
Yeah. Number 10, Pittsburgh Steelers. Colorado State.
Colorado. I think this is going to get me kicked out of here, but I had a Cordell Stewart jersey when I was a kid, a Steelers jersey. Like, this is going to get me kicked out. I loved him, man. He was, as a kid, you think about how many positions he was playing. He had a cool nickname, Slash. Like, and honestly, those Steelers jerseys.
Didn't he have the bunk ass face mask though? I
don't know about that. I wasn't thinking about that as a kid, Leo. But what I do remember is they switched those Steelers jerseys at that time when he got there to the different number, and it had the Steelers patch. That shit was hard, man. And I had one, man. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, kick his ass out, right? Everybody.
Yeah, kick this man out. All right, Jason. I'm just gonna have to mute you real quick for that comment. Didn't Cordell? Did he finish as a wide receiver?
I think that like at the end of his career, he
tried but never played a game.
Quarterback thing, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, he did have the lineman face mask. I remember that. It was so ugly. Like, for me, I couldn't stand him because Croc is probably, is bigger than I am when it comes to the uniforms.
Tip check.
Yeah, for myself, I was just like, God, that's so ugly. Get this man off the field, or just
God,
get him a
that's so
new
ugly.
helmet. It's so ugly. Like I get annoyed when I see ugly face masks on good players. I'm just like, you're a freaking legit player. Why are you wearing a bunk ass face? Like Adrian Peterson when he was on the Titans recently, he was wearing something weird, and then he went to Seattle and went back to his normal, big running back face mask. And I'm just like, okay, like that's
Dude,
the AP I know.
dude, but
I get very annoyed with face masks.
dude, the other thing is when he got to Seattle, they probably only had one helmet left. They were just like, here it is. Like, just here, take it and get out there, dude. Remember, they were just like, please, can you play? Like, just go. Like, so it's not really, I don't think he might have had a choice.
I find it so funny that Pete Carroll doesn't learn. Um, with he tried to get the whole emotional Marshawn Lynch touchdown week 17 and gave them a delay of game. He tried doing that with Adrian Peterson like immediately. Oh, we're in the goal line. A piece up. Like, bro, do you not learn your lessons about
He
delay of
tied Jim
games and
Brown.
just
He tied Jim Brown.
man, AP was just insane back in the day. It's to a point where I'm like, guy, retire. Like, just retire. Like, this isn't the last image I want to see
We get
as
it.
you as a running
Oh,
back.
and
Like,
also, we get it. We get it, dude. You're really
he
good.
did punt before,
He
right?
did. He did. And when you look at it, that's ahead of the game. And here's why. He played quarterback, he played wide receiver, he could punt. So it works. It definitely works. And that's why Bosa plays so good with Deion Sanders' face mask. There you go.
Yep. See, that's what I'm telling you. It's all about the face mask. You wear something ugly, like it's probably going to translate in your play. Look good, play good. You feel me?
Look good, play good for sure. 100%.
So this is based off of Bleacher Report. They did like a little article saying, oh, which teams are regretting their draft picks, yada, yada, yada. Just, way too early BS crap. And I found it as a talking point. When you look at Trey Sermon and to say 49ers regret selecting Trey Sermon,
Mm-hmm.
what, like, do you have a word that you would choose for that? If someone was just like, hey, 49ers regret selecting Trey Sermon, what's your instant reaction for that?
Skeptical. Because you don't know. I mean, the way that it looks, obviously, maybe you can draw that conclusion, but how would you know that? And
Mm-hmm.
I've always maintained that there's been something behind the scenes that they're not disclosing as to why Trey Sermon fell out of favor. But
Mm-hmm.
for anyone to write an article saying that the 49ers regret it, you're just speculating at this point. And while the assumption could eventually come to fruition, how on earth would you know?
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's somebody or that's an article that is an assumption and also to drive clicks. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's too hard to speculate on something like that. Something happened behind the scenes that they're not going to talk about. That's great. I love that they're dealing with things however they are behind the scenes, and no matter what we think is going on from the outside looking in, let them handle it, and then you'll find out in a little while if they regret it. But to say that right now, come on, man, that's weird.
I think whoever wrote this article at Bleacher Report, you don't watch the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. You just
Ooh,
don't
we got
watch
breaking
the 49ers.
news.
What's that?
Levante David is going to be out for the year as well for the Bucks.
Oh, geez. That's in trouble.
Yes.
That's
So
trouble.
a little bit more to what I was talking about just making the dance. Teams are not going to be what you thought they were because of injuries. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of the business. I don't pray for injuries or anything like that, but it's getting to December right now. These games are piling up, and right now, that's terrible. That's terrible for them. Levante Davis is one of the best linebackers in the league. They lost him and Chris Godwin in the same game. Goodness gracious,
Mm-hmm.
man. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, that's huge. And looking back at that Super Bowl, Levante David was freaking on Kelsey like white on rice, essentially, and that's a huge sliding towards George Kittle's favor if Levante David isn't in that potential playoff matchup if they have to face the Buccaneers. Obviously, they would have to advance a game and win their first playoff matchup. And I say yes, playoff matchup because at this point I am assuming that they're in. Despite a potential collapse, which I don't see happening. With this whole Trey Sermon thing, I'm going to say, yeah, you'll be fine. Like, you don't watch 49ers because you don't realize what they were doing before. In Trey Sermon's limited carries, he still averaged more yards per carry and more yards per carry after contact than Tevin Coleman's 49ers tenure. And Kyle Shanahan gave him the rock plenty of times. And that's why we believe that this is probably something behind the scenes and not necessarily with Trey Sermon's play that's got him to so much limited carries. But yeah, I think he'll be fine moving forward. I think they have a solid 1-2 punch with Elijah Mitchell and Trey Sermon. Do I think Elijah Mitchell is going to be a 20-plus carry back moving forward into the future next year in the season, even after that? Probably not. You could probably split that between 18 and 10 between the two. And if Trey Sermon's the guy only getting 10, I think he'll do a phenomenal job with his 10. He's also a really good receiving back. He's worked with a lot of zone read options with quarterbacks in his college career. Kyler Murray, with Justin Fields. So he has a lot of experience with that, where I think this guy will be fine. Saying the 49ers regret it, it's just premature. It just seems like a low IQ type move. Hey, I need to get an article. Who's not doing anything out of the 3rd round draft picks right now? Trey Sermon. Let me say him because Elijah Mitchell's the 6th round pick and he's blowing up. Let me say the 49ers regret. No, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll find a role moving forward. So, no. No, man.
No, man.
We talked about the Titans pass rush a little bit. Let's talk about the Titans pass protection. I know you haven't watched too much film into them, but it's easy to look at the numbers.
No, and I know a little bit about them, a lot more actually than I would say what I know about them on defense. Taylor Lewan is the guy that you think sticks out, even though there are certain national pundits who believe that he plays for the Buffalo Bills. Yes, I'm talking to you, Chris Broussard.
He stinks.
But Taylor Lewan doesn't. Chris Broussard does.
Yes, Chris Broussard. Excuse me.
Yes, because Taylor Lewan will, rip your face off. Hey, wait a minute. Taylor Lewan and Josh Norman don't like each other, man.
Oh, remember right.
Lewan with the arrow?
Yes.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's a nice little wrinkle into this game.
You're gonna have to post that out there.
Yeah, I am. So, he didn't practice today. And their right tackle, who's actually really sussy as well, he didn't practice today. So pass protection, especially when you consider this run game is nowhere near as formidable without Derrick Henry, pass protection is going to be their problem in this game. And Derrick Henry is not there, so you don't have anybody who can lighten the load in terms of...
remind me, it's not like I have Derrick Henry on my fantasy team and I end up missing the playoffs because I'm missing 50 points a game now with him out.
Then it's violent right now. There are people in the playoffs right now who may not be playing with Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. Everybody's going through it, dude. I lost Gus Edwards before anybody played a snap. I don't want to hear anything about that, okay?
Gus Edwards is not Derrick Henry. Come on.
Hey, I had to figure out where the hell I'm getting RB2 points from. And it's ridiculous that I could have invested that pick in somewhere else. Before he even took a snap, and Gus Edwards
that's round 5. That's round 5, not round 1.
That's your business. You can still play the waiver wire. I do not have any sympathy. You had to play the waiver wire. Anyway, that's their biggest concern in my eyes. So they can be beat. And if Lewan doesn't play, the right tackle's already been giving it up. Man, this is going to be a long day. And this might be an Eric Armstead game because he can play on the inside if he's on the inside against a backup guard. So, yeah, they're in trouble there.
Yeah. With Tannehill, he's the 2nd most sacked quarterback in the league. The only one who's been sacked more than him is Joe Burrow. So Tannehill at number 2, that bodes well for the 49ers defensive line against the Titans pass protection. And then another hashtag fits my narrative per Jason Aponte is that the Titans are the 3rd worst in the NFL in terms of pass blocking grade by PFF. So this team is not highly regarded in pass protection. They're not keeping their quarterback clean. Like I said, regardless of the PFF grade, he's still the 2nd most sacked quarterback in the league. So they have some issues, and especially if Taylor Lewan's not there to suit up, Nick Bosa is just going to feast. He's going to have a field day, and that's where I get excited about this game, to where I don't see it as a schedule loss, essentially, because of how bad that Titans offensive line is looking. Now, yeah, I could potentially go eat crow after Thursday's game, but I'm going to bet on the 49ers defensive line 10 out of 10 in this matchup, and that's where I get excited for it. And so let's go ahead and end the show here. Frank Gore, the boxer. Do we have any final words?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it and I just said why when people ask me about it. And, and look, it's fine, right? Because people want to challenge themselves and do different things, and that's fine. When I said why, it's not like, dude, what are you doing? It's fine. I just hate that right now that meme is out there, even though I used it.
You
Unfortunately,
used it.
I did use it. I did use it. But now that's a lasting memory that people are going to have, right? Nobody's going to remember. Nobody's remembering him for his football right now, unfortunately. But yeah, whatever. If you want to challenge yourself, Frank, I get it. You've been boxing, cool, man. It's just, I didn't see the need for it. And hopefully it's not a sign of him needing money. That would concern me way more. And, yeah, I just, why more than anything, Frank? And I hope you're okay, man. It's just pretty annoying to see that out there, man.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say it sucks, man. I've been a Frank Gore stan for his entire time. And then to see him go out there boxing and then people saying, "Oh man, what happened to Frank Gore, man? What happened?" And now I got people that don't really know who Frank Gore is hitting me up about Frank Gore. It's like, dude, stop. You don't even know who the guy is, and now you're hitting me up about him. Just like get
Right.
out of here. Get out of my messages. Like, dude, that's not Frank Gore, man. If you knew who Frank Gore was, you wouldn't be sending me this.
Right.
So I just think it's unfortunate. I do love that he had the Jim Harbaugh support, that he was supporting the 49ers. I do like that part out of it. I'll say just if you don't have to, don't do it, because my man, you was gassed before round 2 ended. So it's okay if it's not your sport. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. It's I'm not out there trying to pursue a tennis career, because you know what? Tennis ain't my sport. I'll probably trip over my 2 feet trying to hit a backhand or something. But it is what it is. Hey, real quick, shout out to Averly. I saw your post earlier today about her, telling the construction workers, good job. Whether she got that from Sesame Street or not, that's a phenomenal job by her. So, that's just very heartwarming. It's inspiring. And, I'm glad. And, we've talked about this, seeing the steps that she's making and growing as a person.
I appreciate that, Leo, man. And that's why I try to put it out there, right? A lot of negative stuff out
Mm-hmm.
there. Sometimes I tend to feed into it, whether on these shows, on Twitter. That's my fault. Sometimes I just, it made me smile, and I hope it made other people smile. And as you say that, I hear her in the background right now, because it's about time for her to get to bed. So the job
Yep.
doesn't stop, man. So I got to get back to her in a few as well, too. But I
Tell,
appreciate you
tell
saying that, man.
everyone what to do with the algorithm.
Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channels, hit that notification bell. Me and new daddy Leo, or Leo daddy ×2, is going to be doing this every week as long as the 49ers have games. So I hope you enjoy the content. A lot more content coming this week from both of us. Leo has the Niners Nation podcast going on. I'll be on day after day with new stuff. Thursday post game. Who knows if I'll be able to make Grant show, Friday reaction show. So a lot of stuff for you guys over the holiday. And one more thing, I'll probably say this to close out a lot of these shows. Enjoy the time with your family. Enjoy the holidays. A lot of things are uncertain in the world right now. So just enjoy your football, enjoy your family, and, just make sure that you're valuing that time, because there's a lot of people that wish they could spend time with their loved ones, for whatever reason they're not able to. So just be safe and enjoy the holidays, man.
Absolutely, I agree, and I love the way that we could end this one here. Hey, if you guys haven't done your Christmas shopping, like myself, don't tell my wife. You go out there and do it. Go out there and do it. Let's get these final gifts in. Let's go and put 49ers W on the Christmas list. Once again, hit the like, hit the subscribe, help the algorithm. If you could help us, we appreciate that, and we love every single one of you that's sitting here on this Tuesday afternoon joining us. We'll see you next week.